The following is a fan-made review. All clips of Tenjho Tenge are owned by Studio Madhouse, Ito Ogori, and Tosifumi Kawase. All other clips and music are owned by their respective owners. We encourage our viewers to support the official content and support the independent artists on their official platforms.
Kick, punch, it's all in the mind. If you want to test me, I'm sure you'll find that we're not going to be talking about the PlayStation classic Parappa the Rapper. No, that little shout out was just to get you into the right mindset for today's topic, Tenjho Tenge. Tenjho Tenge is a 26-episode anime centered around martial arts. It aired in 2004 and was animated by Studio Madhouse. Interesting little factoid, the name of the series is only part of the phrase Tenjho Tenge Yui ga Dokuson, which can be translated to, there is no equal to me in this world. The reason I'm telling you this is because that basically sums up the series in a nutshell. However, if you want something less poetic, then let me ask you this. Are you one of those people that think, I like the fighting in Street Fighter, Tekken, and Mortal Kombat, but what about that story though? If you are, you're probably going to enjoy this series, and the fighting game fans are probably looking at me like I just said, my hat tastes like bees! Let's talk about the story. It starts with a little bit of a fake out, making you believe that this guy here, Masataka, is our main character, since he's the one that's narrating at the start. No, our true main characters are these two knuckleheads, Nagi and Bob, the duo known as the Knuckle Bomb. These two are set on being the strongest delinquents around, and taking over every school. Their largest target is Toho Academy. Unfortunately, what they don't know about Toho is that this school was created with the goal of reviving martial arts into the modern world, meaning that all the clubs in the school actually mainly focus on teaching you how to kick ass. So it's surprising that Nagi and Bob do a pretty good job, until they face off against the members of the Juken Club and get their asses handed to them. Nagi getting particularly thrashed when he tries to use his street smarts.
Street smarts!
However, while momentarily down because of their loss, the duo strive to become even stronger, and resolve to join the Juken Club. This kind of being a mistake since the Juken Club and Toto's Executive Council have kind of a rough history. Rough in this case meaning they have more beef than the Mishimas from Tekken have with, well, the world. I want to give a bit of insight into our two heroes, Nagi Soichiro and Bob Makihara. Nagi is a delinquent through and through. As a kid, he was an outcast because his family came from a clan that was cursed in layman's terms. So Nagi felt that the only way to prove himself was to basically kick everyone's ass. Definitely a solution. Anyway, Nagi found that he liked fighting. Though what he liked is his problems kind of falling away, and the only thing that's important is who's the better fighter. You or your opponent. However, Nagi is like every other kid who thinks they know how the world works. Incredibly wrong, and he learns this through a thorough beatdown. Nagi finds that there's way more things that he needs to learn, and that what he's done has worked up to a point. And there's more to life than just knowing how to throw a good punch, though that is on the list. As for Nagi's other half, Bob, well, Bob's just awesome. He's an easygoing person, which serves as a good parallel to Nagi's hot-headedness. Bob is just as strong as Nagi physically, if not stronger. He can kick plenty of ass and has a pretty good life, even living with his steady and beautiful girlfriend Chiaki. If it seems like I'm only giving Bob a brief overview, it's because the anime does the same. The show never really goes into why he fights. Sure, he also wants to prove he's the strongest, like Nagi, but beyond that, we don't really get a sense of his life up until that point, unless it relates to Nagi. Which is a shame, because if there's one thing anime needs, it's more people of color. Also, if you think the anime won't bring that up, oh, it does.
So, what do you want me to do next? I ran the 20 kilometers like you asked, in exactly 1 hour and 10 minutes. Even a marathon runner would be impressed.
You're quite fortunate to be physically gifted. You have the height, the limber muscles, and the jumping ability that is quite unique to your genetics. You need to run and run some more. Feed your muscles with as much oxygen as possible. That alone will make you stronger.
All right.
One thing you'll notice from episode 1 is that the martial arts Tenjho Tenge boasts is on the same level of things like Tekken or Street Fighter, where key and intense physical training result in supernatural powers. Honestly, it would take me some time to list all the abilities in the show. Still, my good friend Mike has compiled most of the techniques in this show and is going to give you a brief. Mike, if you please.
Thanks, bud. Now, while this series loves to go on about martial arts, it has a real difficult time actually stating legit styles of fighting. The closest to a real style of fighting mentioned is capoeira that Bob uses. However, there are plenty of techniques to talk about, like the reverse strike, which is the basis for the rest of the techniques. The reverse strike uses ki to transmit the force of impact wherever the user wants. So basically, it's like if you wanted your punches to act like a Newton's cradle. Punch goes here, force goes out there, and your enemies empty out their intestines. Now, using the reverse strike and ki manipulation as a base, here's some fun stuff you can do. The Iron Forged Needle. This technique involves using your ki to transmit that power through the air, forming a needle after a punch. Double Pulsating Palms. Similar to the last technique, this involves making contact with your opponent with both palms, causing a wave of energy. It also kind of makes you look like you're doing a Kamehameha. The Iron Finger. This one is pretty simple. You force ki into your fingers or thumbs in order to pierce and rupture your enemy's internal organs. Ew. Pyrokinesis. Pretty self-explanatory. Your ki allows you to start and control fires. Guys, I don't think that's fighting, I think it's just magic. Form Refinement. This allows you to either make yourself hot or to turn yourself into a 9-year-old. Guys, this is just pedo magic. Looping Red Earth Dragon. Despite the name, this one allows you to summon and control lightning. Yeah, I'm starting to see the Street Fighter in this one. And lastly, Chris's favorite, Lucha Libre. Yeah, there's a wrestling club in this school and it even comes with its own luchador. Power bombing and super flexing included. Well, that pretty much covers all the techniques that our fighters use. Back to you, Chris.
Thanks for the help, Mike. And he's right, I do love the luchador. The only thing that could have made it better is if he was wearing the leopard mask a la King from Tekken. That would be awesome. Now let's talk about the author and the studio who made the show what it was. Tenjho Tenge was created by Ito Ogure. Going by the pen name Oh Great, it ran in Ultra Jump magazine from 1997 to 2010. Oh Great has worked as a game designer, illustrator, and character designer. However, the body of his work as a manga artist isn't actually that big. He's mostly created a few one-shot manga, a 2-book manga called Majin Devil, and probably the most well-known of his works, and one of my favorites, Air Gear. Yeah, if you're a 2000s anime and manga fan, you gotta know about Air Gear. Also, if you do know about Air Gear, you really won't be shocked to know that throughout Oh Great's career, he has worked on porn. Shocking, I know. Yeah, Oh Great hasn't done much, but what he has done has been pretty impactful, at least in my opinion. Still, if it weren't for the people at Studio Madhouse, Tenjho Tenge would just be a good book. The show itself was directed by Toshifumi Kawase, who's directed on Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, Dragon Drive, and Beyblade. Not exactly A material, but still. Madhouse, on the other hand, has worked on anime like Hellsing Ultimate, Parasite the Maxim, Overlord, Hunter x Hunter 2011, Trigun, and plenty of other anime. So chances are you've seen their work and you know they're no slouch. Now that being said, not every anime is gonna get a studio's A game. And I hate to say it, but Tenjho Tenge is that anime. Sometimes the animation can be a bit sloppy, and at times the quality drops as the series goes on, which you can kind of tell as they tend to repeat frames. There's also this roughness that 2000s anime has. I can't put my finger on it, but if you compare the 80s and 90s anime to 2000s and current anime, you can tell there's a transitionary state that just feels rough. However, with that in mind, where Tenjho Tenge shines is in its fight scenes. They are very intense and put it a leg up on other anime at the time. I mentioned that this series was in the same vein of fighting as things like the Tekken games. What I meant was that while supernatural abilities are a thing, the body movements try to be as realistic as possible, for the show at least. All in all, Tenjho Tenge is rough but fun. Now I'm not gonna lie to you, there is some drag, especially in the middle of the series. As such, I want to recommend that you watch maybe a couple episodes a week. Also, I have to tell you that the anime only covers the initial arc of the manga, and has a read the manga ending, which was way too common in the 80s, 90s, 2000s. You know what, it just happened a lot. But it got better. I hope I've gotten you at least a little interested in checking out the series, because it can be a good time. And I wanted to share a little something from where I really started deep diving into anime. It's a shame that the series won't get a continuation, but as a whole, Tenjho Tenge might be a little bit of an acquired taste. But if you're willing to go along for the ride and love to watch some kick-ass fight scenes, then I think you'll have a good time with it. I know I did. What do you guys think? Have you seen Tenjho Tenge? If you have, what do you think about it? And if you haven't, are you willing to check it out? You know where that comment box is, and let me know your thoughts. I'm Cornet Chris, that was Mike the editor, and thanks for watching Review This. Till next time!